Hey YouTube, it's time for another comparison. I love doing these comparison videos. However, they do take a lot of work and they are very, very time consuming. So if you all could do me a favor, please leave me a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see more content like this. But it does require a lot of work. All right, so today I'm going to compare the OnePlus 8 Pro against the Mi 11 Ultra. Now, for those of you that your attention span may not be that long and you don't like to look at videos that long, I'll just tell you right now about these two devices real quick. For those of you that not going to tune in for the whole video, both devices have great displays, great performance, great battery life, great speakers, and great cameras. So if you want to exit the rest of the video now, that's your choice. But for those of you that want to stick around and hear a little bit more detailed about these two devices, please do so. All right, first thing I want to talk about is usability. What I mean by that is which phone is going to be available for what carrier. And when it comes to the OnePlus 8 Pro, it is unlocked for all carriers. That's a huge, huge thing for most people. Because if you want to get a certain device, you want to make sure that it'll work on your carrier, and especially that your data, excuse me, dealing with a cold, that your data works once you leave your house. If you have Wi-Fi, once you leave your house, you want to make sure that you have internet access still on your phone. So OnePlus 8 Pro available for all carriers. The Mi 11 Ultra, not so much. Maybe one or two carriers, maybe. I'm not sure which ones. Maybe Mint Mobile or some other carrier. I don't know. You have to check with your carrier before you buy this device or consider buying this device. Check with your carrier to make sure that it will work. If not, you're going to be upset if you get it and it don't work. Now, I have AT&T. Unfortunately, it does not work as far as data, the internet once I leave my house. Now, I can still use all the other great things that come with it, but it kind of defeats the purpose when you can't use it like you normally would use it once you leave your house. So that's unfortunate, but the phone is such a beast and, it has so many other great things, I'm going to keep it regardless. But that's the big advantage the OnePlus 8 Pro has over the Mi 11 Ultra, so keep that in mind. Next, the release date. Now, the 8 Pro 2020, Mi 11 Ultra 2021, so they're a year apart. Now, both of these are flagship devices, both top-tier premium devices. So you can't go wrong with either one of these devices when it comes to just sheer, when it comes to premium. They're both premium. They're both top tier, both top of the food chain, like Flossie Carter would say. Love both of these devices. No issues, no budget, no mid-range, both top tier devices. Now, let's look at the price. Now, with the OnePlus 8 Pro, of course, is going to be somewhat cheaper than the Mi 11 Ultra because it came out almost 2 years ago. So it's going to be definitely cheaper. Now, the prices I found for it, the lowest I found, now on Amazon, I've seen it as low as $619. Now, that's for a renewed model. That's not for brand new. That's renewed. But what I will say with Amazon's renewed program, the phones that they give you or ship to you, they look literally like they're brand new and they perform like they're brand new. So their renewed program is excellent. And also they give you 90 days to use the device. And if you don't, like it within those 90 days, if you return it before the 90 days is up, they'll give you a full refund. So you have 90 days to play with it to see if you like it. And then you go from there. So that's excellent. So $619 on Amazon for renewed. And also on eBay, the lowest I've seen it for was $425 refurbished. And the description said it was in good condition. Now, I don't really like stuff that say good condition. I'd rather excellent condition. That's just me. I want it to look like it's brand new. But good condition, that means it's going to have some scratches, some scuffs. Not necessarily, but, great condition or excellent condition to me is better than just good. That's why I don't mess with pre-owned devices. I'd rather get open box or either brand new. That's just my preference, or renewed from Amazon. So keep that in mind. So $619 on Amazon renewed, $425 refurbished on eBay. Now I didn't see any on eBay brand new for some odd reason. I mean, none. It was 99% all pre-owned. I couldn't even find any open box ones. I mean, maybe there was one, but it was like you had to bid on it. So I don't know why there's just no brand new OnePlus 8 Pros on eBay or either Amazon. Just all either refurbished, renewed, or pre-owned. That's all I've seen. All right. All right. Now let's look at the prices for the Mi 11 Ultra. Now, the lowest I've seen it for on Giztop was $866, but that's for the 8 gig, 256 gig variant, and that's the global ROM version. Okay. And it comes with the charger, and it's brand new. Now, I also seen it for $799, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of internal storage, Chinese version of Giztop.com, and that's full Google services and brand new, and it comes with the charger as a gift. So both of these are basically the same as far as 8 gigs, 256, but the Chinese version is going to be a little bit cheaper than the global ROM. So it depends on you and where you're at and which one, that you want. Now, I have the Chinese version here, but full Google services, no issues with that at all. So it's up to you. All right, next, let's talk about the design. So when you look at the design, of course, these two have very, very different designs. As you can see, the Mi 11 Ultra has a humongous camera module on the back. You got your 3 cameras back here, and also you have a secondary display, as you can see there. And this can do a lot of things. I'll talk about this a little bit more later. And with the OnePlus, you have your cameras centered, and you have your flash and everything there. Now, which design do I like best? I'm going to go with the Mi 11 Ultra only because it's just so different. There's nothing on the market like this device. Of course, we've seen this design many, many times on different phones, but you'll never see a design like, there's no other design out on the market like this. Nothing like it. So when it comes just to uniqueness, I like the Mi 11 Ultra. Now, I do like the OnePlus 8 Pro design, but when it just comes to just flat out being unique and different, I'll go with the Mi 11 Ultra. But of course, that's subjective, and that's just me. Let's talk about build quality. Now, the OnePlus 8 Pro comes with Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and the back. No issues with that at all. No scratches whatsoever. No micro scratches, nothing, no scuffs. Now, I keep a case on my device all the time, but still, I found that Gorilla Glass 5 is a lot more resilient than Gorilla Glass 6. Now, Gorilla Glass Victus has been great for me, but Gorilla Glass 6, not so much. That scratched up pretty bad, pretty frequently. I didn't like Gorilla Glass 6 at all, but Gorilla Glass 5, I've never had an issue with it, especially as far as scratches. With the Mi 11 Ultra, you do have Gorilla Glass Victus on the front and a ceramic back. Now, I've never used a phone with a ceramic back, but it feels really nice. I just wish this phone had a frosted back, something that would make it a less slippery. It has a glossy back, so it's a fingerprint magnet. And it's also extremely slippery. It's like holding a bar of soap in your hand, wet soap in your hand. I cannot navigate this phone in my hand without a case. I just can't do it. Not unless my hands stayed extremely moist. That's the only way probably, but my hands don't stay moist. And also, it just looks bad once you get fingerprints all over. It just looks horrible. Now, with the OnePlus 8 Pro, you have a matte finish on the back. It's a little slippery as well, but it still has a matte finish, so no fingerprints if you decide not to use a case. None at all. So when it comes to build quality, actually, both are great, but the build quality on the Mi 11 Ultra is stronger with the Gorilla Glass Victus and the ceramic back. And I will say with the Gorilla Glass Victus also, no scratches on this display at all, not even no micro scratches. So you can't go wrong with either. Both got top of the line build quality, so no issues with either, but the build quality on the Mi 11 Ultra is a little bit better. Next, let's talk about Face Unlock. Now, Face Unlock is on both of these devices, and both are really, really good. But the Mi 11 Ultras is a little bit faster, and also it has the raise the wake, so I could just raise the device near my face, and it'll open up the device to my home page. I mean, right to my home screen. You can't do that with the OnePlus 8 Pro, and I don't understand why that makes no sense. You have to. The only way you can use the Face Unlock is from a dark screen is to double tap it to activate it. There's no raise the wake and it activates the Face Unlock and opens up the phone. It doesn't do that. I don't know why. Doesn't make any sense. But the Face Unlock is good. It is fast. It's just not as fast as the Mi 11 Ultra, and also just having that raise the wake. So if I don't want to use the fingerprint sensor at all I gotta just use is just barely tilt this phone anywhere near my face, and it's gonna open the phone immediately. So advantage with the Face Unlock on the Mi 11 Ultra. Next, let's talk about always on display. Both have an always on display. However, they're a little different, but they both have an always on display. Now, neither one of them will keep the fingerprint sensor scene. You got to double tap, which I don't really care for, but I like both always on displays on both, but I like the Mi 11s a little bit better. It's a little more functional. OnePlus is cool, but it's just not as customizable as the Mi 11 Ultra. But I like both of them. I like the fact that they both have an always on display. That's like almost like a must feature that I need on my device. Next, let's talk about fingerprint sensor. Now, both have an in-display optical fingerprint sensor. Now, they both look a little different as far as animation. Now, you could pick different animations on the OnePlus 8 Pro as well as the Mi 11 Ultra. Now, the ones on the OnePlus 8 Pro, it's cool, and it does have a little haptic feedback. And the fingerprint sensor in general is pretty good. It's not 100% accurate. For some reason, I find that the OnePlus 7T Pro fingerprint sensor was 100% accurate and flawless. I've had issues with this one. It's like, unless my finger is on here really perfect, it just won't open up the phone. And it just gets frustrating when I gotta do 2 or 3 times, and sometimes before it'll even work, the Face Unlock will kick in. So I don't know. I haven't had the best experience with the fingerprint sensor on this device. With the Mi 11 Ultra, fingerprint sensor is very good. It's not 100% accurate either. It can be a little iffy sometimes if I don't put my finger on there perfectly too, but I do like the haptic feedback, and I do like the animation that you see here. You get a nice swirl, and you see how fast it opens up the device. So both are good, but both are not, the best. Like the OnePlus 7T Pro is probably the best in-display fingerprint sensor I've used on any smartphone. That's just my experience. But both of them are good. Next, both are IP68 water and dust resistant, so you don't have to worry about any water damage on either one of these devices. And that's something that I love about the Mi 11 Ultra, because the previous model, the Mi 10 Pro 5G, did not have any water resistance. So I'm glad that they put it on the Mi 11 Ultra, as well as the OnePlus. This was the first OnePlus device to get an IP68 water and dust resistant rating. Now, they always said it sealed well, it resists water, but people want that certification, especially if you drop it in water and it gets damaged. If it has the rating on it and you drop it in a little bit of water and it gets damaged, then you could take it back and get your money back. But if it doesn't have the rating, you drop it in water, they're going to say, well, we didn't tell you that it was water resistant to begin with. We just said it can resist it a little bit, but it ain't certified. So it's nice that, with both of these devices, they're certified IP68 and water and dust resistant. Next, let's talk about the display. Now, both of these have beautiful displays. These are probably the 2 best displays that I have on a smartphone. Now, I do have a lot of phones that have great displays, but I really believe these are the 2 best. This one, both of these are Quad HD Plus displays with 120 hertz refresh rate. However, the Mi 11 Ultra is definitely brighter with 1700 nits. But the advantage that the OnePlus has is that it has a fluid AMOLED display, and it also has motion graphics smoothing. What I mean by that is when you're watching content, media content, movies, things like that, it makes the video look so smooth and so real to it looks like the people are jumping out of the screen. I mean, it's amazing. Now, I did a full review on both these devices, so if you want to check those out, you can do so, and you'll see what I mean because I do give you an example of how awesome it looks. Now, this is great too, far as viewing media. Both of these are great when viewing media, but if I had to say which display is the best, honestly, I would have to give the slight edge to the OnePlus 8 Pro because of that motion graphic smoothing. It just looks so phenomenal when I'm watching content. But both of these devices are great. Now, like I said, the Mi 11 Ultra does get considerably brighter because both of these are on max brightness. And if you could really look, you can see that the Mi 11 Ultra is definitely a brighter device. It is also a little taller at 6.8, and it's a little wider than that of the OnePlus 8 Pro, which is 6.7 inches. So when it comes to display, I give the slight edge to the OnePlus 8 Pro, mainly because of the motion graphic smoothing and that fluid display. It's pretty awesome. And the pixel density on both are pretty high, 513 pixel density on the OnePlus 8 Pro and 515 pixel density of the Mi 11 Ultra. And like I said before, both have 120 hertz refresh rate. Next, both have 12 gigs of RAM. Now, when it comes to RAM management, the OnePlus 8 Pro's RAM management is better than that of the Mi 11 Ultra. That's been my experience. I don't know. I can't speak for other people that have this device, but for some reason, the RAM management on here is not very good, especially for a device that have 12 gigs of RAM. It's like I constantly, I'll use an app and then go right back to it and it refreshes. Like it doesn't hold apps open in the background. I don't know why. I don't, maybe I don't know if it's something I'm doing wrong or the way I have the phone set up, but if anybody else is having this issue, please leave me a comment down below. I'd appreciate it because I just want to know if somebody else is having an issue with RAM management with this device like I am, because it just really won't hold anything open for a very long time. Not a long time at all. But with the OnePlus 8 Pro, I have had no issues with RAM management, none whatsoever. Next, let's talk about internal storage. Now, the OnePlus comes with 256 gigs of internal storage. This one now, the only two variants that they have is 128 and 256. It's unfortunate they don't have a 512. They don't offer a 512 variant or a 1 terabyte variant. But with the Mi 11 Ultra, they start out 256 and then 512. And I think they may have a 128 gig variant. I'm not sure, but I know 256 for sure. And no, they don't have a 128. It's like 8 gigs of RAM, 256, or 12 gigs of RAM, 256, and 12 gigs of RAM, 512. So the max capacity for this phone is 512, and that's the variant that I have here because I'm the type of person that needs a lot of storage space because I store a lot of movies and things on my device. OnePlus has been maxing this out at 256 for years, and it's really time that they go up to at least offer a 512 gig variant. Why I say that? Because they've never offered expandable storage, and neither does the Mi 11 Ultra. No expandable storage at all, but at least they offer you a 512 gig variant. So I'm not sure why OnePlus won't up that to 512. If you're not going to give us more internal storage, then give us a micro SD card slot, just like you did the Nord. I reviewed the Nord N10. It has expandable storage. Why can't we get expandable storage on your top tier device? Just same thing with Xiaomi. I have the Redmi Note 11 Pro that has expandable storage up to 512. And that's a $259 device. You mean to tell me a $1,300 device like the Mi 11 Ultra when it was released, and you don't put no expandable storage on it? But I will give them credit. At least they give you a 512 gig variant. So that's the difference when it comes to storage. So if storage is a big deal to you, and you need more, then I would go with the Mi 11 Ultra. Next, let's talk about speakers. Now, both come with dual stereo speakers. However, with the OnePlus 8 Pro, just dual stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos. With the Mi 11 Ultra, you're getting dual stereo speakers tuned by Harman Kardon. And when it comes to speaker quality, it's no contest whatsoever. The Mi 11 Ultra has way louder speakers and better overall sound quality when it comes to the speakers. Next, let's talk about battery life. Now, with the OnePlus 8 Pro, 4,510 milliamp battery. With the Mi 11 Ultra, 5,000 milliamp battery. Now, when it comes to battery life, both of these phones are great. I mean, both. I get on average a day and a half with both devices at full Quad HD resolution, 120 hertz, and max brightness. Day and a half on average. Now, I can get 2 days out of both these, depending on what I'm doing with the phone. If I'm not running it super, super heavy, I can easily get 2 days on both devices. Both have great standby time, but the Mi 11 Ultra does have a little bit better standby time. It just does. It'll sit battery a lot less than the OnePlus. And the OnePlus used to be king of that, them and LG, but I gotta say the Mi 11 Ultra when it comes to standby time is pretty excellent. It really is. Okay, but you're not gonna have any battery anxiety with either one of these devices. Not at all. Even if you use it super heavy. Let me give an example. On days that I really use my phone really heavy, when I'm watching a lot of media content, I'm having well over 50% battery at the end of a 17-hour day. So if that don't tell you how great the battery life is, I don't know what to tell you. So you're not going to have an issue with either one when it comes to battery life. Both are great. And that's really impressive for this because it's less. It's 4,510 milliamps. This is 5,000. And it's getting the same amount of battery life that the bigger battery is getting. So that's impressive. So that means OnePlus really optimized their software very, very well. All right, next let's talk about battery charging speeds. Now, OnePlus has always been known for having fast battery charging speeds over the years. They started out with, dash charging. Now it's warp charging. I don't know what it is now. I know that, with the OnePlus 10 Pro, it's even faster now. I don't remember what the wattage is, but it's even faster than the warp charging. So, excuse me. So let me say this. The 30-watt warp, it has 30-watt warp wired charging, 30-watt warp wireless charging, and 3-watt reverse wireless charging. Now, once you get used to a phone charging as fast as this one, and I'll tell you in a minute, this is slow, honestly, really. Like from 0 to 50%, okay, 23 minutes, that's good. If you need a quick top off, you're in a hurry, that's good. But full charge from 0 to 100, over an hour. Okay, I guess I'm spoiled now. Most people, they say, oh, that's not bad. That's pretty fast. Like an hour, 10 minutes, hour 15, something like that. Not bad. And with the 30-watt warp wireless charging, about an hour and a half. I mean, it's not really that impressive to me. It's just not. And the reverse wireless charging is really not even, I don't even know why they put it on here because 3 watts is a joke. You're only going to use that on wearables. Definitely not another phone. So I think they just put that on there just to keep up with the times. But it's just not worth using, not at that low wattage. With the Mi 11 Ultra, you're getting 67-watt super fast charging and 67-watt super fast wireless charging and 10-watt reverse wireless charging. So everything is super beefed up on this device as opposed to the OnePlus 8 Pro. Now, I know they're a year apart, but I'm just more impressed. I mean, 0 to 100% with the wired charging, 36 minutes. And 0 to 100% in 39 minutes with the wireless charging. So think about this, 67-watt wired charging, 67-watt wireless charging. So it's the same wattage and almost charges just as fast either one. So that's impressive. Now that's what I'm talking. See, that's why I'm spoiled. So this is slow compared to this. Because say if I forget to charge my phone overnight and I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh man, I forgot to charge my device. I don't have to worry about it. All I need is a little over half an hour. I'm good to go for the whole day. Not 50%, not 70%. No, 100% in 36 minutes. That's what I'm talking about. And 39 minutes with the wireless charging. That's what I'm talking about. Love that. And the reverse wireless charging at 10 watts is good for using with another device and your wearables. Excuse me. So battery and charging speeds are like night and day. There's no comparison. Mi 11 Ultra destroys the OnePlus 8 Pro when it comes to battery charging speeds. Next, neither has expandable storage. Neither has a headphone jack. I don't like that on either one of these devices, but it is what it is. Next, let's talk about chipset, performance, and software. Now, with the OnePlus 8 Pro comes with the Snapdragon 865, and with the Mi 11 Ultra comes the Snapdragon 888. Now, with the OnePlus 8 Pro, you're dealing with Oxygen OS. Now, I'm hearing they were talking about merging Color OS with Oxygen OS, and then I'm hearing recently they decided to stick with Oxygen OS. I don't know what they're doing, honestly. I don't know, but that's what I've been hearing. We'll see. With the Mi 11 Ultra, you're dealing with MIUI. Now, MIUI is super heavy, feature-packed, and just ridiculously customizable. I mean, you could just change so many things with this device. It's crazy. Now, with the OnePlus, it does come with some features. It is customizable, but it just doesn't compare when it comes to the features and the customization of the Mi 11 Ultra. Now, I know everybody don't care about having a bunch of features. Everybody don't care about something being highly customizable. This is closer to stock Android than the Mi 11 Ultra. This ain't nowhere near stock Android. So if you want a more stock Android experience, a little more simplicity, then you want to go with the OnePlus 8 Pro. Now, unfortunately, for some weird reason, and it could just be my unit, my OnePlus 8 Pro is still stuck on Android 11. I don't know why. I have not gotten Android 12, and we're getting ready to, Google's getting ready to push out Android 13. I don't know. OnePlus has disappointed me over the last couple of years because they're just not given me timely software updates. Now, I will say this. I'm not having any performance issues with the phone at all, and I never have. I mean, the phone is super smooth and super fast. So, zero issues when it comes to performance. But when it comes to security updates and things like that, they're not timely at all. I don't know. They used to be pretty timely, but I don't know, since I guess they've changed CEOs, it just hasn't been the same. Not at all. All right, so when it comes to the Mi 11 Ultra, of course, you got MIUI, way more feature packed, highly customizable, and I have Android 12, and I'm slated to get Android 13. I don't know if the OnePlus 8 Pro is going to get Android 13. Now, I know it's supposed to have gotten 12, but I do know for a fact that the Mi 11 Ultra will get Android 13. And they do keep up with the security and the software things on their devices. Now, when it comes to overall performance on the Mi 11 Ultra, which I almost forgot to mention, super fast, super smooth, no issues whatsoever. When it comes to both of these devices, when it comes to performance, they are evenly matched. One is really not faster than the other. They're pretty much even. Both of these devices are very, very smooth. I mean, buttery smooth, and they open up apps super fast. So I can't say one's faster than the other because they're both, to me, they're adequately fast, both of them. I can't tell the difference, is what I'm saying. So you got an older processor in this one, a newer processor in this one, but they're both super fast. So unless you're talking about going back to something maybe 3 or 4 years ago, then you may see a difference. But these two, no issue. So for those people out there that think you have to have the latest and greatest and, the 8 Gen and all of the next you don't. These phones are just as fast as those phones, in my opinion. All right. Next thing, let's talk about IR Blaster now. the Mi 11 Ultra is the only device that has the IR blaster. That's a universal remote control. I'll show you real quick what that is. See, I already got it set up for my Samsung TV. When you go in here, you can see this is a remote control. You got your channel changer down here, your volume, menu. You got your thing here where you could change things up here. Now, let me show you something what you can use it for. Look at all these things you can use the IR blaster for, okay? A TV box, your TV, a setup box, AC, fan, smart box, AV receiver, DVD player, project, satellite TV, camera, light bulb, air purifier, and water heater. So this is just not something that you use for your TV. You can use this for multiple things. And that's something that the OnePlus don't have and never have had. Now, something that LG and Samsung used to have, but for some weird and stupid reason, they removed them from their devices. And I love having the convenience of an IR blaster, especially if I'm going out of town and I don't want to touch the remote on the TV at the hotel. I could just use my phone. And if I lose my remote control, if I misplace it if I'm home, then I got my phone. I don't have to worry about it. So I love that. All right, next let's talk about the secondary display. Now that's this bad boy here on the back of this device. That's this right here. Love this. Now if you swipe up, you see I can control my media if I wanted to turn it on. Now it's not set to play anything, but you could go forward, go back. And also not just that, as you can see the time, date, day, battery percentage. You could also receive notifications. You can answer and reject phone calls with this display. You could also use it for a viewfinder, okay? And you could also take photos, okay? And control your media. All that with this secondary display. So this is not something that was just put there to look cute. It's highly functional, okay? And I love that. That's what makes, this is one of the things that make this device so unique. And you could change it, you know, to look different than this. You can have it saying something. You could put a picture in there. I mean, it's just highly customizable. So I love that secondary display. And of course, you know, the OnePlus 8 Pro does not have that functionality. All right. And last but certainly not least, let's talk about the cameras. Now, I'll say this right from the get-go. Both of these devices have great cameras, in my opinion. They take great photos and videos. Okay? I'm saying that right from the rip. All right. Now, with the OnePlus 8 Pro, let's talk about that real quick. You got 4 cameras on the rear. You got a 48 megapixel wide with laser autofocus and optical image stabilization. You got an 8 megapixel telephoto with optical image stabilization and a 3 times optical zoom. And also a 48 megapixel ultra wide and then a 5 megapixel color filter. Now, the color filter is pointless, useless. There's no reason to even ever use that, honestly. So just disregard that. But with those 3 cameras I just mentioned, they do take excellent photos. I did take a bunch of photos with it. You can check out my full review on the OnePlus 8 Pro that I'll leave at the end of this video, and you can check out the photo and video quality there. Also, when it comes to video, it shoots at 4K at 30 and 60, 1080p at 30 and 60, no 8K recording, which is not a big deal because to me that's overrated, honestly. Now with the selfie, you get a 16 megapixel wide that shoots at 1080p at 30 frames per second. No 60 frames per second at 1080p, which is disappointing, especially with this calling itself a Pro device, okay? And no 4K recording at all. Now, I don't know why they would use the word Pro and there's no 1080p at 60 and no 4K at all. The minimum, it should have been 4K at 30, but there's no 4K at all and no 1080p at 60 frames per second. All right, let's take a look at the Mi 11 Ultra. Now, on the rear, you got 3 cameras, okay? You got a 50 megapixel wide, dual pixel with laser autofocus and optical image stabilization, a 48 megapixel periscope telephoto lens with optical image stabilization and 5 times optical zoom. And you're also getting a 48 megapixel ultra wide with dual LED flash. And the thing you have that's really special about this phone too, it can zoom 100. It has 120 times hybrid zoom. Now, I'm not saying you use that to take pictures, but if you go, say 30 times zoom, you're still going to get a pretty impressive and clear, sharp picture at 30 times zoom. But if you're trying to find something or look for something or try to see something, 120 times zoom is pretty amazing for a phone. You expect things like that on a DSLR, with those cameras, regular cameras. You look for that on those type of things, a regular phone, but not ever a smartphone. So to be able to zoom into something 120 times is pretty impressive. Now, when it comes to video, this phone can shoot at 8K at 24 frames per second. Now, I'm never going to use that because it's going to take up way, way, way too much of space. Also, it's not going to be very, very stable, not at 24 frames. They need to get it at least to 30, and at some point maybe get it to 60. That would be great, but at least 30. 24 frames per second is not enough. It's very shaky, and you got to have very, very steady hands. And as soon as you start moving or it's trying to, pan around, it's going to get blurry. So 8K recording to me is overrated. But you do get 4K at 30 and 60 and 1080p at 30 and 60. And with the selfie camera, you got a 20 megapixel wide that shoots at 1080p at 30 and 60. However, this calling itself an ultra, no 4K at all, that's disappointing. Because for a phone that costs this much and calling itself an ultra, there's no way in the world should not have 4K recording capability on the front camera. Now, that's something they could easily put in with a software update like Samsung did with the Note 10 Plus. So that's ridiculous that this phone does not come with 4K at 30 and 60. It's ridiculous. But that was my comparison between the OnePlus 8 Pro and the Mi 11 Ultra. Both of these phones are great. I love them both. You're going to get great performance, great battery life, great displays, great speakers, great cameras, and great build quality. So you're going to be fine with either one of these devices. However, I'll say again, the advantage that the OnePlus 8 Pro has is that you can use it on any carrier. You can't do that with the Mi 11 Ultra, at least not in the US. Now, if you're outside of the US, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine with this device. You're going to be able to use it wherever you want. But in the United States, the upper hand is definitely the OnePlus 8 Pro. Now, Xiaomi, if you're watching this video, please try and get with a major carrier in the US, if at all possible, because you all would give Samsung serious competition. And competition is needed, and it's good because it will bring down the prices, and that's good for the consumer. And they have great products and great prices for a lot of their phones, especially their budget phones and their mid-range phones. You get, like that Redmi Note 11 Pro, honestly, that is the best budget phone I ever used. It performs like a premium flagship device. Cameras, display, battery, everything I just mentioned, speakers, everything I just mentioned about these two, that phone is just as good as these two. And it was $259. And the advantage that phone has that these don't have, the Redmi Note 11 Pro, that phone has a headphone jack and expandable storage. Neither one of these do. And these cost hundreds of dollars more. So if they really want to give Samsung competition in the States, they need to get at least with one major carrier. Now, it'd be awesome if they got with at least two. Like the two biggest, like AT&T and Verizon, that'd be great. But man, they would give Samsung serious competition because their products is just as good as theirs. Now, their UI is different, but other than that, I'm telling you, they would give Samsung would have a problem. They'd have a major problem because LG is gone. OnePlus in this country, not so much, honestly. It's just not. It's not that big. The Pixel, so. It's mostly Samsung and Apple, but more so Apple in this country. But if Xiaomi got at least a foothold in this U.S. market, they would do some great things, I believe. So Once again, I do appreciate you all taking the time to view this content. Thank you, every one of you that stayed to the end. I do appreciate it. Please hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Hope everybody out there is staying well and staying safe, and I will check you guys out in the next one. Peace.